where all the inputs will be given. First thing you have to do is save it after you open a template. So let's say I'm going on desktop and when I save this Disco project, if I go to the desktop and see, there will be a folder created with the name of the project. And inside that folder, there will be several subfolders, in which Squawpath is the main part for you, which has input, output, and reports. Okay. In input, there will be by default just DAT01, and if I edit this in a text editor, you can basically see all the available information of variables. Okay, so if some of the variable is not clear in the GUI what it means, just open this file and the description is given here. For example, R1, R2, R3, R4, they correspond to these inputs here. Okay. Now, to choose the profile, you have several options here, but I would suggest that while you are in the learning phase, trying to play with the model, go for this asymmetric end profile. This is quite a robust model profile because it doesn't create a lot of loops. But finally, you will go for your coursework to this approved end profile, which is the existing machine there. There is only small difference between 3 and 7. 7 is the patented profile, so it is not available in free market. You have to be use it with constraints. But asymmetric profile is kind of a demonstration profile, so you can use it and even you can manufacture your own compressor. So I'll start with that. This A stands for the center distance between the two rotors. Z1 stands for the number of lobes on the male. Z2 number of lobes on the female. L by D ratio is the aspect ratio of the rotor for the male. You can ignore E, it is used for different profile, not for this profile. R is the addendum on the male profile and R0 is the dedendum. What this means, so this is the center distance A. Male profile is always at 0, 0 and female profile is at A and 0. And if we say from the theory of gearing, like gears are like two cylinders which are rolling without slipping, right? Screw compressor is the same philosophy. So you will have two cylinders, virtual cylinders, which are rolling without slipping. And this is the contact point. Now around this contact point, depending on Z1 and Z2, you will have the profiles. For example, if I set Z1 as 3, then the profile will be about 120 degrees. And Z2 as 5, then this will be about 75 degrees roughly. So if I'll draw the first profile here. Second profile here. And third profile. Okay. And to cover this, there will be the gate profile. Now this R is from the pitch circle to the octave. So this is pitch circle. Addendum, and R0 is from pitch circle to the root. Same as gates. Is that visible?
Sorry, what was L over D?
L over D is the aspect ratio. So if this D is the diameter, let's say it is 50 millimeters. If L over D is given as 2, then length will be 100 millimeters. So the multiplication factor. Psi is called as the profile tip angle. Don't worry about it, just leave it default. Similarly, alpha 1 is the contact pressure angle, alpha 2 is the contact pressure angle on other side. These three angles you can leave it default. N is an exponent factor, you can leave it default. Coming to gap I, R and A, these are most important settings for the performance. Okay?
Which ones?
Gap I, interlope gap, gap R, radial gap, and gap A, axial gap. What gap I means is that between the two interlopes, wherever there is contact, or virtual contact, they don't physically touch. It is the distance between the rotors. Clear? Gap R is between the profile and the casing. And gap A is between the end face, this whole cross section, and the discharge plate at the high pressure side. So if I take a side view, then the rotors will be like this with its axis, and there will be an end plate discharging out from here. So this is the gap A. R1, R2, R3 and R4, these are quite difficult to understand. You have to look at the definition of the profile to know what it means. Okay? We are defining the whole profile as segments of curves. Okay? At the root, there is a circle. At the tip, there is a circle, because this is a requirement from the rolling operation. And this small radius R1 is the segment A1, B1, circle of radius R1 on the main rotor. Okay, so from here to here, it's a radius R1 with center here, and it's a circle from the tip to here. Then from this tip to small angle, which is given by psi, there is R2 with center here. This is R2. It's not clear here, but if you open the help, it might be. Then R3 is here at the root, and R4 is on the female side at the tip. Okay? And R1 and R2 are going to control the thickness of the vein or thickness of the lobe. It will have a direct influence on the cross-section area. R3 and R4 are like local radiuses. They will have influence on the blowhole area. Okay? How they influence is up to you. You have to study and see how they are influencing. If you reduce R3, then what is happening? If you reduce R4, what is happening? Okay? So I'll leave everything default for now in terms of geometry. Come to these angles here. This is called as wrap angle, and how how to explain? If you take a screw, let's say, and follow one of its thread from starting to the end, how much angle you are traveling is the wrap of the screw. The same applies here. Okay, it may be 360 degree, it may be 300 or more than that. Then there are two angles here. One is called as angle of compression start, angle of compression end, and there is a parameter called built-in volume ratio. So this parameter built-in volume ratio or this parameter end of compression end could be used. Okay, one of this is dependent on the other. And how the definition is this is rotation of the male rotor, and this is volume in meter cube. Okay. When the rotors start disengaging, they start sucking gas, and the suction starts. It reaches to a maximum point, and then on the opposite side, diagonally opposite side, the rotors start engaging again, and the volume starts reducing. So you have an option of starting the compression at some angle, which is generally done at 0 degree, corresponding to maximum volume. Or let's call it Vs. And then when the compression starts, you have an option of opening the discharge at some angle. Depending on at what instant you open it, you will get certain internal pressure. So let's say you're opening here at 100 degrees. And this volume corresponds to V discharge. So these are the two angles, Vs and Vd. And this epsilon is the ratio of the two. So you have an option of selecting the angle or selecting epsilon, which will define that angle. Again, I'll leave it default 0. I'll specify this. If I make this 0, then the angle will be used. If this is a positive number, then the angle will be calculated and returned to you. Relative point distance is just the number of points on the profile. You can leave it default. E you can leave it default, it's for steel. Restraints can be left default. And based on this geometry information, what will be the rotor information is in compressor design data. So if you click here, it will give you all the diameters, length, and helix angle. Okay. Now from this information, we have to do calculations to find how the volume curve will look like, what are the sealing line lengths, what is the blowhole area, and depending on the gap size, that will estimate the leakage flow. Okay. So first calculation for us is the profile itself. So what we do is we go to score path, calculation, and do a generation. This generation will make the profile for us. This is what looks like. You see there are lots of points here. Now what I'm going to do is change a small parameter here and do a recalculation. You see what happened? The nature of the profile changed. Make this even bigger. You see, it got spoiled.
Mine doesn't run.
Calculation?
Calculation. So that doesn't find the place.
I needs to be in the desktop. I think something needs to be in the desktop. For the product log.
Did you copy the whole installation folder on the desktop?
Yeah.
And where from did you get that Volvo one? What is that?
Volvo View.
Yeah, Volvo.
Do you have Volvo View?
compressor, of course, CD.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have it there.
Okay, do one thing. I'll give you another installation. Just try that. Probably that's a demo version. Even you can take. So if you start increasing the R4, this is going to spoil, which you should avoid. Okay. So play with these parameters and see what range is available to vary. So I'll go back to the default. And this is a neat profile, it doesn't intersect anywhere. So we can do a basic calculation with this. Now at this stage we have just the profile based on given radius and the different center distance and Z1, Z2. But now we have to calculate that volume curve and leakage areas, which is done using thermodynamics. But for thermodynamics you also need boundary conditions. So go back to control panel and use this here. Working conditions and the fluid. Okay. You are going to use ideal gas, but there is also option to use refrigerants or a mixture of gases. Stick to ideal gas. No need to change anything else. In case this has gone into NIST, then just flip back to IIR fluids. In working conditions, the main rotor speed can be set using tip speed, which is the tangential velocity at this point. Okay. So RPM gives you rotational speed and the diameter gives you tip speed. So let's say I want to run at 10,000 RPM, then I can play with this number. This is slightly odd, you have to iterate and set the RPM. So nearly 10,000. Yeah.
We'll be changing the working conditions as well.
Yeah. So in the experiment you measured at 4,000, 6,000, 8,000 RPM. So you have to set your working conditions according to that in your coursework. Okay? I'm just giving an example of 10,000 RPM. P0 is suction pressure, which is atmospheric 1 bar, and discharge is the pressure where you have set during the experiment by changing the control valve. So it can be 2 bar, it can be 2.5. Check your measurements, what information you have, and then give the corresponding information. So I'm going to test it at 2 bar. Suction temperature and discharge temperature is a parameter used for initial calculation, but it is going to be replaced later based on the actual discharge. Vapor pressure and condenser pressure can be ignored. temperature. Similarly, saturation temperature and Rayleigh structure. So these four parameters are not relevant. You have to play only with pressure, temperature, and speed. The model is applicable even for oil flooded machines, but if the ratio is 0, it will be a dry air compressor. Okay. Then you don't have to worry about tool. It's for the cutting tool design and also these tolerances. This delta tip and delta temperature is used by the solver to march in terms of speed and time. And there are some loops given here, pressure loops, tip speed loops. For example, if you want to do a calculation starting from 10,000 and then doing 11,000, 12,000, 13,000 in steps, then you can give tip speed loops. If you want to start calculation at 2 bar and do further 2.5, 2.6 in a continuous mode, then you can give pressure loops. So for now, I'll keep them 1-1, save the project, and go to calculation, thermodynamics. So that gives me the, let me go to data just first. So this is more or less the information about the performance. For example, mass flow, efficiencies, isothermal, adiabatic, and indicated. Specific power, volumetric efficiency, mechanical power in gearbox, and adiabatic efficiency. So you have to make a performance map at different boundary conditions, correlating with your experiment, and then compare your experiment with these calculations. That is more or less your coursework. Okay, for that you will have to understand how input parameters are influencing the profile. Make your profile as close as possible to the one which is in the rotor. And then you can directly generate a report from here. For example, if you go to graphical results, you can visualize the thermodynamic plots for pressure, volume, PV diagram, temperature, mass in the chamber. And if you go to score path, data results, save report to Word. Then in the score path folder of reports, you will have this report file. Which will have the basic information required. You can extend this report by putting your experimental plots, your performance curves there. Now I'll show you some trend of how it is, how working condition is influencing. Basically, what I'm saying is that with a built-in volume ratio of 1.8 and a discharge pressure of 2 bar, my pressure volume diagram shows that it is quite well balanced. Why it is well balanced? Because internal pressure rise is not far away from what is in the discharge. Okay, there can be situation when internal pressure rise is less and then it goes to the discharge, that is called as under compression, or there can be over compression, that this goes up and then drops down, which should be avoided. Over compression should be avoided, but slight under compression is preferable because it improves efficiency. So how to get over compression? I can just ask the rotor to close at a later angle by increasing this. So at 1.5, if I give built-in volume index as 1.8, the discharge port is opening at 161 degrees. So if I ask it to open at 200 degrees, then my volume will be further compressed and the pressure will be further increased. This 161 I got from here. Either I can make this 200 or I can increase this built-in volume. So I'll prefer to make this 200. And then recalculate thermodynamics. Now because I'm changing some geometrical aspect, I'll have to recalculate generation as well, because the port area has changed, or I can do a calculate all. Now if I go back to volumetric efficiency to check what has happened. It's not much different because discharge pressure is the same. And if I go to pressure plot, then again it is not much difference because there is only a slight change in the. Basically this has to be 0 to make this effective. You see it is more flat here. And there is about 1% drop in efficiency. If I go further, then the pressure has increased much. Okay, so depending on where you are ending the compression, the internal pressure rise will change. This is not good because you don't want it over compressing. Finally, you can change the boundary pressure itself, let's say 3 bar. Jump to a higher discharge. Okay. Now in this situation, what will be the efficiency? Because discharge pressure is higher, efficiency dropped by 14% for the same conditions of gap size and operating speed. Okay. Now I'll keep everything same and just reduce the clearance from 180 to 80 microns and calculate everything again. That is about 4% improvement in efficiency. So you'll have to study these gaps independently. Keep in mind that change only one parameter at a time, otherwise it will be very confusing to understand what is going on. Let's say you are studying the gap, then keep everything same, pressure conditions, operating speed, and just give steps increment to that gap and see what is happening to the results. In results, you can check efficiencies, power, and flow. Just investigate
efficiency or
volumetric and adiabatic efficiency, specific power, and mass flow. And try to see how each of these parameters are influencing the three. Okay. Just to show you an example of oil injected machine. Now if I go to results and check the temperature here, you see maximum is going to around 700 Kelvin. And the whole idea of oil injection is threefold. First and most important is cooling the gas, so bringing this temperature down. Second is sealing in the gaps to improve volumetric efficiency. And third is lubrication. Okay. So the cooling effect will be visualized from the temperature diagram. Sealing effect will be understood from the volumetric efficiency. So let's see how much it is now. I guess 43. 47. Okay, and specific power is 5600. Indicated power is 44 kilowatt. Okay, just roughly note down these numbers. Everything else same. I'm just injecting oil of the same mass as that of the gas. So oil ratio 1. This is ratio of mass of oil to mass of gas. Injection temperature, let's say it is room temperature, 290. And this is the angle at which you are injecting. Okay. At 0 degrees the compression has started and it is proceeding, and we are saying that at 68 degrees we are injecting oil.
Wasn't the compressor oil free?
It is oil free. I'm just giving you an example. This is droplet diameter for the oil. It should be estimated using experiments, but we are taking a mean diameter. Then density, specific heat and viscosity are properties of the oil. So let's calculate again. So what happened now? Indicated power 56.3 for the same pressure. Specific 4.6. Volumetric efficiency and max temperature . This is the injection point. At 68 degrees, gas and oil came into contact and the gas was cooled down. After a certain point, the gas and oil become same temperature and then further cooling stops. Then the temperature again starts increasing, because of which you see this trend. So now why did indicated power increase, specific power reduce, volumetric efficiency improved, and max temperature reduced? It was the same discharge pressure, same operating speed. What could be the reason? Why did indicated power increase when we injected oil?